Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Agent Forge webinar series. This is day one and introduction to Agent Forge. I'm John, head of AI at AI Tech Cloud Network. Been working with ACN for the past 2 years now, and I'm leading the development of the new and improved Agent Forge platform. Heading over to GK.
Hi, I'm GK. I've been working as an AI engineer at ACN for almost like a year and a half now. I've also been mostly spearheading work around the agent forge and particularly the agentic capabilities within the meta agent, which is a copilot in the system. All of this will be run down during the actual session. So yeah,
Yeah,
nice meeting you
perfect.
all.
So firstly, let's go through an introduction of what Agent Forge is and why we built it. What is Agent Forge? It's essentially a workflow editor, which is what it started out as with Agent Forge 1.0, where people can connect integrations, build agents, and put them all together in one workflow. This was just for ease of, you have a lot of APIs and a lot of developers know how to use these APIs. However, it's a bit jarring to go through all of the documentation, figure out how each of those endpoints are used. So we just made it as simple as possible, and especially even more simpler now with Agent Forge 2.0. We've also, like GK mentioned, added the Copilot, which allows you to build workflows without having to write any lines of code. So this allows even people with no dev experience to build very high quality workflows. How it works is we essentially have two modes. We have the light mode, which is for people who are just entering the AI sphere and people who are hobbyists in AI. We also have the workflow mode, which I was talking about, that allows you to drag and drop any of the blocks, integrations, or tools that we have on the platform on a canvas-like section where you can build chatbots, automations, agents, especially now with the ERC 8004 standard. And you can also make some data pipelines if you'd like. The biggest differentiator with our product is the multiple AI models that we have. Obviously, now if you really like how Claude works, you can only use Claude inside the Claude app or the web app. However, we've got access to OpenAI models, Google models, Anthropic, and there's some other partnerships that will slowly be expanding with Web3 native projects as well. And yeah, you can switch these AI providers without having to rebuild any workflows. So we allow essentially you not to worry about vendor lock-in because you can bring all of those ideas, come to this place, and you can switch things around whenever you'd like. So yeah, if you guys have any questions about Agent Forge or why we built it, do drop them. If not, we can move over to the next stage. We'll try to break this down into 3 stages today. The first one's the introduction and why we built it. The second one will be like a high-level feature tour where I can explain the blocks, the light mode, the advanced mode, and some of the features on the platform. And the last section will be us talking about the ACN token and how it's used on Forge. So I'll give it a minute if anyone has any questions. The screen as well. Just let me know if you guys can see it, GK. So when you first log into the platform, this is what you'll be greeted with. Let me just zoom in really quick. This is our light mode. This allows you to use Agent Forge, build one-off workflows with all of our integrations, but in the most simplest way possible. So I can go through this quickly and explain each of the sections here. This is obviously your typical chatbot text box. You can change the model here if you'd like. We've also integrated skills similar to Claude. This allows you to bring in any skills that you have, for example, things that make emails, skills that can do trading for you, skills that do research, making podcasts, scripts, the world's your oyster. You can make as many skills as you want and you can bring them here. You can also use dictation, which allows you to do speech to text. So rather than typing it in, if you just want to talk it out, you can. You can also attach files if you want to add any pictures, ask the AI to break it down. This is again similar to ChatGPT. However, the cool thing here is you could drop in, let's say, a textual format of a workflow or how you want the prompt to be structured, and you can send it to our Copilot and it'll build the whole thing for you. And then here you have some of the typical questions that people could use to find out how the Copilot works. So I'll just click one of these and I'll let GK explain how the Copilot works.
Yeah. So basically this is like your like entry point into the platform. So if you don't want to think in workflows, you want don't want to think about like wiring a bunch of different things together to automate something, this is like the entry into it. So it's almost like it's like all it's almost like a general purpose tool orchestrator of sorts. So basically, when you request something, the light mode has the ability to run workflow like things in the background so that you get an optimized result in the end. For example, in this case where we are going to make a podcast with all of the latest news updates. So essentially, this is a job that is like broken down into multiple steps. And first, we do it like online search. So we have tools that provide online search results. So the agent calls those tools, fetches those results. Then we have a partnership with 11 Labs where they can convert text to speech. So in between this, it's an agent that from all of the latest news that it can fetch, it sort of repurposes into text to speech like an script that can be easily converted into a podcast like thing. So essentially, all of these work together to give you the final product, which is an audio file, which is the podcast clip. So it is essentially simplifying workflows and like orchestrating different tools together into a simple chat interface. And ideally, you would want to use this when you have things that you want to do that are complicated but are more like one-off things that you want to run this once and you want to just get the answer quickly and then move on forever. This is practically the best use case for the right now.
Yep, sure, GK. So yeah, the other cool thing about this is obviously you can play this in line.
Welcome to your
Um,
Web3 news update for May 25th, 2026. Here
yeah, I'm not sure if you guys can hear it, but essentially you can play it in line. You can download it if you'd like. And this brings me to the next point, which is artifacts. So we obviously have this. You could also do something like this, for example, say, create me this in an HTML mailer format so I can send it to my clients. And this will create an artifact essentially. And what an artifact is let's say you have an HTML file, a Python file, a JavaScript file, any files that you want to build and take this maybe somewhere else. So you can essentially use Agent Forge's light mode to build that artifact for you, and then you can download it if you'd like. You can also edit the artifacts. So once this is done, yeah, you'll see it on the right hand side. This is your mailer. So let me just download this real quick. And if I share the other screen, yeah, this is the mailer that we just generated in a few seconds. So yeah, you can do a lot of cool stuff with this. You can also generate code files if you'd like, and yeah, take that out. Yeah, and you can download it as well, like I showed you guys, and you can, yeah, you can edit it, you can copy it, you can close the section, and yeah, that's the light mode. There's also a bunch of integrations that we have here. So let's say you want to connect your email. Um, you could connect your email here. You could ask it to read your emails, send emails, organize your emails. You could do a bunch of stuff. We are working on getting our app Agent Forge approved by Google. So you might see a message right now that says this app hasn't been verified, but we've sent you some steps on the Telegram group on how you avoid that. We also have an X integration. So if you want to fetch your profile, if you want to do posts, you want to create a tweet, you can do so on the light mode. We also have Confluence, Jira. These are more for professionals since we're targeting obviously the enterprise market as well. We have a bunch more. Discord, if you want to run any moderation, you want to make a chatbot, you want to make let's say one of those XP bots. I've seen them get very popular where you have mini games on your server. Yeah, the sky's the limit. You can pick whatever you want and integrate it. So I think I've already integrated HubSpot. I'll show you. Actually, I shouldn't be doing that. Let me just connect with my email. I'll just hide my screen. Connect my email real quick. Okay, yeah. I'll just allow this to connect. And now I've connected my email here. As you can see, it should be connected. What I could do is say, find me an email from Kevin accepting to join the webinar. And this should look through my email, fetch that relevant email, and then send it back to me. Yep, there you go. Yeah, so there's a lot more you can do with light mode. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them and we'll be happy to answer them. But yeah, if you guys have any more questions, there's obviously the walkthrough that you can click and it'll explain each of these things. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. If not, we can move over to the workflow builder mode.
Yeah, I think just one quick add-on from me. So we've not yet talked about workflows, and this will become much more clearer when we get to that bit. But you can also run workflows using the light mode. So if you have like a preset workflow built in the workflow builder mode, you can run any of those in chat in line here as well. So you can maybe chain multiple things together or like get data out of one workflow and then do something like a quick one-time thing with it or whatever you can imagine doing that. That is also a feature here. Yeah.
Yes, cool. I guess there's no question, so we can move over to the workflow builder mode. Now this will be, if you guys used Agentforge 1, this is what you'll be familiar with. This is the canvas-like workflow builder. This allows you to drag and drop blocks from our repository of integrations tools and things that we have. All of those integrations that I showed you on the settings can be accessible here as well. So like you saw, we had the Gmail. If I want to use this, I can just connect my account, send an email to johndoe@gmail.com. Subject is a test. Looks like I've lost. Sec. Yeah, this is a test. Hi. Consent. And yeah, the email gets sent. There's a bunch more things that you can do, like you saw with the light mode. You can have your email set out to you. You can choose how many max results, what label you want, unread only if you'd like. We also have an advanced mode for some of these blocks, which give you more parameters that you can mess with to get specific results. You can also draft a mail. So let's say you want to create an outreach email, but you don't really want to send it. You can use this to draft it, keep it in your drafts, and then maybe you can make some edits before sending it. You can also search your emails. So yeah, there's a bunch of blocks here that you can use, and all of them serve different purposes. One of the most common ones is the agent block. This is, as you can expect, a typical LLM agent where you can choose a model from all of our providers. You can use the one that you'd like. Just take the mini for now. You can add in a system prompt. You are helpful agent. Hi, and I click send. Yeah, there you go. You get the response. You can also add skills, like I mentioned. If you say create an email using the guidelines, I just added a skill that has some branding guidelines. All right. Let me check. Telling our clients that we are valid. Yeah, there you go. You can also ask it in the HTML format, and it should send it back to you quickly. Yeah, there you go. And then you can copy this into an HTML file and use it. So yeah, there's a bunch more tools that you can use. I'll go through all of them slowly, but briefly. We have the API. This allows you to add any APIs from any of the providers that you don't see on our platform. We have the condition block. This allows you to make if-else conditions. Let's say if something happens, then do this, else do that. We also have a function block. The function block allows you to write JavaScript functions. Let's say you have some JSON from an API that you have, and you want to essentially make that data clean. You could use a function block here. We also have a tool that can describe the function. So if you say, create a function block that cleans my JSON data, assume the keys, and this will just generate it for you. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the knowledge block is essentially your vector search block. This allows you to connect a database that you have, and you can chunk it, you can use it for RAG, things like that. You have a loop block, which you could choose a for loop or for each loop. This is, if you're a dev, you know what this is. This is, you can run this for these many iterations. You can also have a for each loop that does things for specific items in an array, if you'd like.
Yeah, essentially, if you have like a whole set of emails that you have to send from an Excel sheet, I'm just like talking in use cases so that it's easier to understand. So let's say you have like a mailer list and you want to send each one of them a message based on how many are in the list. So you would use something like the for each item in this mailer list, I need you to send out so and so mails. So you can create a workflow that can be run for every item in a list.
Yep. We'll go through these quickly. The MCP input block, this is a similar block to the start block. This is one of the origin blocks. So let's say you want to make an MCP server. You need to obviously have your MCP inputs for each of those sections doing different tasks. So if you have one tool that fetches the weather, you have another tool that fetches traffic data, you can make one MCP workflow with all of these MCP input blocks acting as entryways. We have the memory block. This allows you to store whatever results you had through workflows and things like that in our database as memory. You can delete these memories. You can get fetch your memories. You can search in your memories. We also have a parallel block. The parallel block allows you to run uh, multiple things through one block in parallel. Let's say you have 20 different token tickers that you want to go through, but you don't want to keep adding them into a block and searching them up. You could use this parallel block with all of those tickers, send it through one block, and it will go through all of them in just one go. Then you have your response. This is to end your workflow. If you're making a workflow that you're deploying as API, then you can end your workflow with this response block. This allows you to, let's say, send a response with an error code. So if the workflow went successful, then you send it with a 200 code. If something's not found, you can send a 404, things like that. A router, this allows you to route the workflow to, I believe this, let me double check. Yeah, this will allow, so based on the input given to this, it will go to the relevant block. This kind of works like the if-else condition block. Then you have your schedule. Yeah, so if you want to schedule a workflow to run, let's say at 12 UTC, you just save it and you can run this workflow. We have the starter block. This is obviously the first block that you see when you create a workflow. We have a webhook block. This allows you to start your workflow out as an API. You can have generic webhooks connected to Slack, Gmail. So we have a bunch of different providers that you can use. We also have a workflow block. This allows you to run a workflow inside a workflow. So let's say, like GK was mentioning, chaining workflows. If you want to run a workflow, get the output of that workflow and put it in another workflow, you can do so here. We also have a 402 payment block. This allows you to connect with any of the agents that require payments, and you can connect your wallet, test the endpoint, see how much that agent costs to run the call. And yeah, you can make that call, pay for the agent call, and then get the output. There's a bunch more blocks here. So each of them have this doc section that you guys can click and learn more about the block, or way more about the block in detail. And again, you can send us an email or a message on the Telegram group if you have any questions, and we'll be happy to answer. Yeah, that's a bit about all of the blocks that we have here. There's a lot more that you can see around the platform, so I'll just quickly go through them. Over here, you can choose what workspace you want. You can also invite collaborators if you'd like. So if you want to work on workflows with someone, you can send them an invite, choose, let's say again, johndoe@gmail.com. You can choose to give them lead access so they can only see the workflows, write access if they can move blocks around, and then admin if they can change names, they can connect integrations and things like that. You can choose your workflow from here. You can import workflows. So over here, if you see, you can export this workflow as YAML, which means you can then import it later if you'd like, or if you want to send this workflow to someone else and you want them to import it, they can do so as well. You can create new workflows, as you saw me do. You can also search for any of the blocks that we have on the platform here. You can go through templates. This is basically a search function for anything on the platform, including documentation. You can click on the View Template Library section. This shows you all of the high-quality templates that we have. We moderate this, so if there's any that's lacking quality, they don't appear here. We obviously test all of the workflows before we allow them to go on the template library. Just go back here. Now, all of the sections here, I already discussed what the export as YAML is. You can do so. You can also edit the workflow as text, either through YAML files or JSON files. You can auto layout. This just sets everything better if things are messy. There you go. You can delete your workflow. You can duplicate your workflow if you like how it looks now and you want to make a copy of it. You can start debugging. So if you had any errors on the workflow while running, you can use the debug tool to figure out what the errors were. You can publish your workflow as template. I showed you guys the template library, so you can submit it there. We'll have a look. We'll test out your workflow, and if all's good, then yeah, it will show up on the template library. You can also deploy workflows. Now, each of these are locked because we have a staking mechanism, which for now works with you staking ACN in any of the pools that we have. So if you stake in any pools, you click on the settings section, click staking. I don't think I've connected with my staking wallet, so let me just do that now. Yeah, so this one's staked. So this gives me tier 2 staking, which allows me to use the agent registry and everything from tier 1. So if I click deploy, now I'll be able to look at these. You can deploy this as an API if you'd like. We have a chat. So this essentially creates a chatbot at a specific domain. So if you say chatbot, title, test, you can pick a theme color, pick what block you want to use as the output. If you want it to be public, password protected, email access, you can choose these settings. The intro message, and then if you want a chat logo, you can use that here. This is good for if you want to make a customer service chatbot, or let's say you want to make a trading bot with you and your friends, but only you guys can use it. You can create this chatbot once, get the link, and then you guys can use it whenever you'd like. We also have the registry section. This is for the ERC 8004. This allows you to deploy your agents directly on ERC 1004 chain. You can, as of now, since we're working on Ethereum, you can only deploy it on the Ethereum chain. However, we'll look to integrate more chains in the future. You can also enable 402 payments. As of now, we have base in Solana with the base Apollo testnet as well. And you can use the USDC token for now, but obviously we'll be branching out to allow people to use the ACN token as a method of payment as well. Yeah, put in your wallet address. I'll just add this. Yeah. This will essentially deploy the API for you, create this spec sheet for your agent, and then you can mint your agent's NFT. All of this will be discussed in the coming webinars. We have one for the light mode, a deep dive in the light mode, and a deep dive in the workflow mode. So we will give you more information about how you can do all of this stuff on that one. So stay tuned. And yeah, the last button is for you to run your workflow. On this section, you have the chat section where you can edit your workflows, run workflows, or get a walkthrough of the workflow builder version of Agent Forge. I'll show you quickly how you can use the edit and generate. Let me just delete these blocks. Yeah, okay, sweet. So here you could ask it a question. We're on the workflow builder mode and say, create a workflow that fetches the latest workflow news and creates a script with a voiceover and then send me an email to the voiceover script. So yeah, I'll let GK walk you through how this works, but I'll just send this prompt.
Yeah, so essentially, if you've been listening all this while and you're like, okay, now where the hell do I start? This is like for you. So essentially, we've built this agent like your like co-working, like a co-pilot to your building blocks on this. So essentially, you can, if you're very confused about what blocks to add, what to do, but you have a very clear idea on what you want to automate, all you need to do is just explain your idea to the agent and it builds out a fully fleshed, fully wired up working workflow for you. And the best part is that it's highly context aware. It knows exactly what blocks are on your screen already. So even if you started half wiring some blocks, it can pick up what you've already created and continue from there. And it can autofill most of the things for you if you're unsure of what to do, and any edit or tweak you make also can be passed back to the agent. You can ask the agent to edit stuff for you, and if you run into errors that you're not familiar with, the agent has complete access to the docs and walkthrough as well. So essentially it can uh, easily help you fix errors as well if you run into any during testing. uh, so you can give it some, like, if you know something that, like, okay, let's say for example you'd like to get your highly customized headlines for the day, and you want to get it every day at 9, and this is something that you can easily automate with the agent, and all you have to do is just say, okay, I want to receive an email at 9 every day with all of the news updates from these domains, and you can use an AI to filter it, write it more in your style, make it like exciting to read for you, etc. So this entire thing can now be saved and run as a workflow. So anything that you can think of, our agent can help you create it essentially. And we have two modes in the agent. So there's the workflow builder mode and the ask mode. The workflow builder mode obviously does everything that we have like mentioned so far. And the ask mode is for when you have doubts about certain things about how the workflow runs, you can just ask about it. So that mode is more for like, uh, like helping you debug and understand something. Yeah, and the best part in all of this is that it doesn't, confidently rewrite everything you've built. It always shows you a diff screen and whether you want to accept or reject the changes that it just made. So let's say you wanted to replace the GPT model with an Anthropic model or something, and you say that, and it makes the switch. It shows you like a diff view and you get to accept or reject that change. If you're not happy with it, if you think the agent has hallucinated some stuff up, you have the option to reject. And even if you accept and still later figured out that something is off, if you go into the chat for any time that the workflow has been edited, you can see a rewind button next to it where if you click that and it just takes the workflow back to the state that it was at the time of that chat. So in this case, what John just did undid the whole thing because he went back to a time where the workflow was not created at all. So essentially, you have a insane number of fail safes for you so that your workflow stays safe while also being edited.
Yep. Cheers, GK. So yeah, we'll obviously explain a bit more about the light and advanced mode over the next few webinars. But yeah, through this walkthrough, if anyone has any questions about any of the integrations or the blocks, the triggers, um, deploying your workflows or anything, do let us know. If not, we'll go to the final stage of the webinar where we discuss how the ACN token is used to power the platform. So someone asks, from watching the workflows you've built, I noticed that workflow should be ended with a response block. That's a good question. The response block is mostly used for APIs only. So if you choose to deploy something as an API, then you should use the response block because that returns an output someone uses your workflow. So for now, in workflows that you want to build for yourself and use it, I don't think you need to use a response block. But it's always good to have the response block because it just shows you everything about how it ran or maybe the output that you want. So yeah, I think the typical agent workflow builds it with the response block. That's just because it's easier to understand where things are going. But yeah, it's not necessary.
Yeah, it's essentially just a structure. It gives you a structure of the output that you're generating. So regardless of what sort of block produces your output, the response block gives you sort of control over what you want to see as the output of the block, and just gives you granular control over what you want to see and what you don't want to. Yeah. And you can use like response codes as well, like the typical HTTP codes for like 200 for not found, 200 for success, etc. So you can build your custom mapping to these responses of what you expect the output to be. Yeah. So essentially, it's just to get some creativity on how you want that response to be.
Yep. If there's no more questions, I think we'll just go over to how ACN works on the platform. So yeah, we obviously showed you an example of how the deployment works. The most important thing for all of that to work is the staking. We'll explain how the staking systems work on Agent Forge in the coming days, but as of now, for the alpha and beta testing phases, we'll allow you to use the tier 1, tier 2 access if you just staked in any of the pools so far. So for now, it shouldn't be too much of a worry. Whenever we come out with information about the new staking pools, we'll give everyone about a week's time or so to migrate to the new pools, and yeah, they can continue using it as normal. The Agent Forge platform is powered by the ACN token. This allows people to subscribe to any of the plans that we have on the platform. If I go through here, we have a bunch of different pricing plans. I'll just share my other screen. Yeah, there you go. The ACN token is the only way that you can use get yearly subscriptions on Agent Forge, and we also provide a discount if you do so. So this is the best way if you really like the platform and you want to keep using it. You can get a yearly subscription and get a discount if you use the ACN token. Going back to the platform now, you can also obviously top up using the ACN token, connect your wallet, and yeah, you can just choose to pay. Um, the the usage of the agents is connected to your credit balance here. So anytime you're using the agent block and you need to pay for compute or inference, it's taken from your credit balance. We also send emails if you have a lot of workflows running and obviously your credit balance is running low. You send reminder emails and warning emails so that you don't lose any of your workflows. And yeah, that's basically how the ACN token works. Like I said, also we'll be adding it to the uh, X402 payments. So all of the agents built on Agent Forge will be able to use ACN as a means of payment for their services. Going back to the agents thing, you can also click on the Discover Agent section up here, and it'll show you all of the agents firstly that's built on Agent Forge. So you can look at all of these. You can view more details about the agent if you click the link. And if you want to look through the whole registry of all agents on 8004, you can click on the global registry. You can pick what chains you want to look at, what kind of protocols that they follow, if they have X402 enabled or disabled. And you can even sort by, average score if you like, rank, stars, things like that. So yeah, this is obviously a quick overview of everything that's on Agent Forge. Over the next few webinars or episodes, we'll be diving deeper into each of these things. So they will start making a lot more sense. If it obviously feels too jarring that there was an information overload, it makes sense because there's a lot you can do on the ACN Agent Forge. Yeah, if there's any questions about how the ACN token works, do let us know. If not, yeah, I think we can wrap up today's session. We'll give it 2 more minutes.
Yeah, the best advice I can give you if you're like sort of new to this whole thing and don't know where to start is use a lot of the agent. The agent is also well aware of what the platform can do. So you can also talk to the agent and ask for what capabilities it has, what are some of the automations like that you can do. If you're confused about what something that you might not realize that something is something from your regular day-to-day activities like a easily automatable thing. You can have conversations there and help it like get the help of the agent to build a workflow for yourself and test it out. So yeah, I would strongly suggest everyone to use the agent as much as possible.
Okay, it looks like you don't have any more questions. So I think we can wrap up today's session. Thank you to everyone who joined. This is obviously going to be a recorded video, so we'll be posting it out on our socials eventually. I believe it'll be on YouTube. Yeah, so if you miss anything or you want to look back and see how something works, you can watch the video once it's out. And we'll obviously let everyone know when it is out on the Telegram group. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining and take care.